Welcome to your latest winter weather update, courtesy of Weather Briefings, the Michigan edition. It is late Friday evening at the time of recording here, and we're going to look at the early hours of Saturday before sunrise, especially to get a bit of a handle on when the expected snowfall would start here. Still, the forecast pretty much intact. Not a whole lot of change. There are some minor nuances we've been looking at over the last few hours, and we'll talk about those as we go through the slides here. But generally speaking, we're still in for winter weather, the first plowable snow of the season in many places. So without any further ado, we're going to jump over and take a quick look at the radar and see what things are looking at this time in the evening. Here's a broad brush look at the radar and the storm in its full view at this point in time. The low pressure down over the northeast part of Kansas, and there is low pressure troughing up into Iowa that's helping to stir up the snow some more. But the concentrated snow is over the state of Iowa and into southwestern Wisconsin now, and we're starting to see a bit of a push down toward the Chicago area. There's a fairly good burst of snow along the leading edge there too, and that is what we're going to keep an eye on here for the early morning. You can see there's some breaks in it right over the southern end of Lake Michigan, although there is a little precipitation there, and then down into the northern portions of Indiana, which right now is still mild enough for it to be kind of a rain-snow mix. But definitely back behind Lake Michigan, it's all snow, and the temperatures are falling quick enough here during the next few hours, especially, that we will see below freezing conditions, and we expect that it will begin as snow pretty much widespread across southern lower Michigan. The southeast corner may have a little bit of a mix for a couple of hours, but then again, we'll see how the temperatures track through the early morning and expect snow certainly by daybreak. Having just seen the broad brush radar, which showed a little bit of precipitation trying to come on up through Indiana and also across Lake Michigan, I wanted to take a quick look and zoom in on the local one here, because this is the radar that you're going to be seeing on the app, and it's actually kind of telling a tale here that's makes it look like it's snowing quite a bit more than it is. These first two very light colored layers are moisture being seen by the radar, but it's not hitting the ground yet. The dew point temperatures are still well away from the humidity range that would allow the snow to start falling, and we've got to get back into Chicago and down to the border area before we see the dew points come up enough where the precipitation is actually reaching the ground. As far as reliable precipitation reporting at this point, it's the green areas that are some snow and some rain mixed with snow, especially over the Gary, Indiana area, and again over toward Angola and just south of the Michigan-Indiana border. That's all coming this way, and that's the more moisture-laden air that we're seeing in this radar picture. So at first glance, this looks like the snow is already here. It's not. The atmosphere above is saturating, and this is moisture in that atmosphere that is gradually going to be precipitating out. Here's a quick glance at the reporting stations across southern Michigan and mid-Michigan. We can see that nobody's reporting officially any precipitation falling yet at this point. Pretty much an overcast right across the board. Temperatures are coming down somewhat through the 30s. You'll notice places like Lansing and up a little bit further north toward Midland Bay City, Saginaw, Sturgis Airport, over toward Grand Rapids. They're all coming down close to the freezing mark, and the dew points are starting to rise. These dew point levels were in the teens during the evening, and now we're seeing them start to come up through the 20s. So as those continue to rise and temperatures continue to fall to the freezing mark, that's when we start to see the humidity climbing quite a bit, and that's when we'll start to see the snow falling. And again, it's going to take several hours for that moisture to saturate the upper levels of the air, but it is in progress now, and it looks as though during the pre-dawn hours is when the snow will begin to fall. I'm going to run through the sequence of forecast maps now that take us from the early hours of Saturday. This one is poised for about 2 a.m., and we'll go right on through the day and the evening time and on into early Sunday and see the storm winding up and heading eastward and getting out of the way. But what we're seeing here on this plot for approximately 2 a.m. is the low pressure having moved a little bit into Missouri. The heaviest moisture running from mid-Michigan back through Iowa and back down toward that low pressure. This implies that we'll start to see snow falling in the mid-Michigan, Lansing area probably right around 2 o'clock or so. It'll start out light and gradually pick up in intensity through the toward daybreak time. Further east, it's going to take a little bit longer for that moisture to mix in, and I think we're probably looking at 4 or 5 in the morning for a start time there, and gradually, again, seeing the intensity pick up throughout the course of the morning. The areas down to the south, not a factor at this point in the day. The purple areas, that's a mix of rain and freezing rain and snow. We're not going to see that impact us here at the start. We'll take a look at the maps here and see how that affects us during the afternoon, if it does at all. This forecast plot takes us right to about sunrise, around 7 in the morning, and we see the state at this point in time pretty much covered in snow, light to moderate snow falling. The purple area is right in the southeast corner, Metro Detroit, down toward Monroe. Those areas, temperatures may still be right around the freezing mark, just coming below, and so we may start out with a little bit of a mixed precipitation at that point, but notice that it takes no time at all for that colder air to get settled in behind, and it's all snow all the way back through Wisconsin, Chicago, and northern Illinois. Looking at the low pressure that's sitting over southern Illinois, but it's troughing all the way back up into the state, and that's going to help enhance the snowfall throughout the day and on into the evening time. Here's the forecast screen for 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, and we're seeing again the state covered in snow, trough of low pressure running right through the state. Looking at that purple, the rain-snow line, and right again, very close to Detroit, running right along the practically the rivers and down through Toledo. Areas in the extreme southern part of the Detroit metro may catch very little snow because of this factor here. For the most part, we're looking at the Detroit metro being the kind of the dividing line in southern Michigan for the rain-snow. Much of the state, even as far west as, say, Ann Arbor, already picking up more snow than we'll see in the immediate Detroit vicinity itself. And here's the forecast for 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The storm is expected to be located right over central Lake Erie, and that's far enough to the east to allow that last little wedge of cold air to get in over Metro Detroit and the extreme east and southeast corner. And you can see by then the mixed precipitation has changed back to snow. We will have wrung out quite a bit of moisture from the storm by that point. So again, the area there in the very light blue, and especially right along the border, may see very little in the way of snow. Everybody else seeing the snow, but starting to wind down now on the back end of that low pressure trough that's headed up through Canada. And you can see the wind flow will become northerly, coming out of the Lake Superior area and Lake Huron, coming back down across the state. That's going to start to dry the system out as well. And we'll get down to some scattered snow showers and flurries probably by 10, 11 o'clock at night. And it looks as though the storm pretty well wraps up by midnight. And this forecast map for the early afternoon hours of Sunday pretty much verifies that fact. The light blue areas are some scattered snow showers and light amounts of snow, not amounting to much. The bulk of the storm will be over with. We are watching that secondary trough of low pressure, though, that's right up along the upper peninsula of Michigan up into Lake Superior, because that will come down across the state throughout Sunday, and some snow showers and flurries are likely with that, but we're looking at minor accumulations after the storm that we will have dealt with by that time on Saturday. So that's the big overview of the storm that'll be coming through here during Saturday. On your Weather Briefings app, you'll want to take a look at the area, the first button where it has the flashing arrow there. It's got the warning and the forecast. Your area will reflect specifically the amounts of snow expected and the timing of that. And in various places across the state, for the most part, middle and southern Michigan seeing heavier amounts of snow up to about 6 inches of accumulation. Southeastern Michigan, again, a real dicey kind of forecast. Could be from just a trace to an inch maybe on the east side of Detroit, but by the time you get to Ann Arbor, we're probably already looking at 3-4 inches of snow again. So it'll be something that we'll monitor carefully throughout the nighttime hours and certainly throughout the daytime on Saturday. And this is the place where you'll always want to go to check for the latest updates. We do these audio-video forecasts several times a day just to let you see the charts and see some of what's going on and some of the thinking behind it. But for the fast facts, please take full advantage of the buttons that are here on the app. We've got these set up so that you're just a finger click away from the most up-to-date information. We'll have another update for you here during the next several hours, and probably at that point the snow will have begun to fall. So we will check in later on, and have a great evening, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.